Hello, I'm in Denver, Colorado. There's Union Station. Here's the street. I've never been to Denver before. I'm really just connecting from a bus from Buena Vista to the Denver airport, but they dropped me off at Union Station and I have some time, so I thought I'd walk around a little bit. Yeah. So this is Denver. It's cute. I mean, this block is cute. I think that the problem with experience is that every experience is a snapshot of a tiny piece of something. So like, you know, my little snapshot of Brooklyn the other day or a couple weeks ago, that's just a snapshot, you know, my experience. This is just a quick snapshot of Denver. I don't know anything about it really, except that my boyfriend used to live here, and my sister lives near here. My aunt and uncle used to live near here, but I've never been here, so I don't really know anything. I have a lot of thoughts on my mind, but I don't know if my first little walk through Denver is really the first time to work through them. Trying to give you a cute little view of the Union Station sign. Kind of. I like travel. Even times I've had travel complications, for the most part, as long as they're relatively safe complications, I don't mind it. So, for instance, let's see. I mean, obviously, when I was living in New York during 9/11 and taking buses back and forth and trains because we couldn't fly right at first, you know, I don't like those kind of complications. But I think I just like feeling like the world is manageable. I think every time I travel, I feel a little bit less. I was gonna say afraid, but it's not that I feel less afraid. That's wrong. I think that I feel a little less dependent. Oh, here. It's really snowy here. Yeah, a little less dependent on people. I tend to kind of operate in the world like somebody who is, I hate to say this because I don't do it on purpose, but I tend to operate in the world like somebody who is kind of weak, and I tend to surround myself with strong people who can get stuff done. I was gonna say shit. Well, now I did. People who can get shit done. People who can kind of manage the challenges of life. A lot of times there are people who can be a little bit grumpy too, because, you know, if you're somebody who feels pretty confident managing the challenges of life, you probably end up with a lot of extra stuff put on you because other people can maybe take advantage of your willingness to be a good leader or manage difficult situations. A lot of moms I know have these traits. I don't know. I guess my life has been so solitary until recently, but kind of sharing more with YouTube, people think I'm a little more extroverted than I really am. But normally, prior to this YouTube phase, I just kind of would go places like this, find a place to sit, have a coffee, journal. Like, I haven't had people dependent on me, really, in my life. I've never had kids. The closest thing would be when I had, well, I'll say it, when I had an ex who was very dependent on me for survival and also for emotional well-being. But I don't have those types of people close in my life anymore. So everyone in my life is pretty self-sufficient, and so I'm able to be more and more self-sufficient. And so it's good for me when I travel to kind of remember how self-sufficient I am, and that I don't need to feel as helpless as I sometimes do just because I've been blessed to have more self-sufficient people around me instead of, that one particular ex who really, needed me to meet all of his needs, or needed his mom to. And it's just like, I don't know, maybe I'm just a stereotypical previously wounded abuse survivor kind of person, where it's like you wake up in a world where you don't have anybody putting that kind of negativity on you anymore, and you're just kind of, it feels very free, like flying. It also can feel kind of not ungrounded. It can feel kind of not empty. I don't know. I wonder if sometimes, this is a very different thing, but maybe that's how moms feel with empty nest syndrome. Maybe. I don't know. But like this idea that like you had a purpose, like a very specific purpose. Like when this particular person was leaning on me for almost a decade, I had a very specific purpose that whether or not I should have taken on wasn't the point. It still was a very specific need that I filled. And then once you don't have that kind of need laying on you, leaning on you, like if the two closest people to me are incredibly self-sufficient people, which they are, then that leaves me a lot of space to just be me. And it leaves me a lot of space to do things like this, and a lot of space to travel, to dream, to create, to imagine a different life, just to become whatever I am. And I don't know. I think I like it, but I also feel there's a wide open feeling that I guess maybe all these years later, with all the love I've had in my life and all of the people that have surrounded me with connections and friendship in a gentle sort of non-needing way, it's like all these years later and I still don't quite know what to do with that spaciousness. I guess I turned to I don't like talking, whatever. I guess I turned to God more than I did. You would think it'd be the opposite. You'd think I'd be leaning on God and not my own self-sufficiency more when I was trying to help somebody else. But when I was trying to help somebody else, it made me feel disproportionately strong. Now that there's no one specific person that I'm trying to like dig out of their own mess, I don't feel disproportionately strong anymore. I just feel like an average, everyday person, and I don't have any beliefs in my own superhero nature. I don't believe I am, and maybe it is weird. I surround myself with people who do kind of seem a little bit like superheroes, but I hope they don't feel like they're needing to help me too much. Anyway, yeah. So this is Denver, and this is my first moment here. And I'm grateful for it. I guess I should go back to Union Station now. I think I'll let these people pass. So yeah, it just seems like everywhere I go I keep getting more and more comfortable with doing this. And I think the reason I'm trying to become more and more comfortable with doing this is because it just feels like everywhere I go, including family, close friends, it just feels like for some reason I wait until I'm completely alone or surrounded by strangers to be like this. And I'm trying to get better at that. When I was on the Cloud Light tour, I made one of these while the other three were right over skipping stones. And but my usual nature is more like wake up in Brooklyn and go sneak off and do this by myself. That's been my usual nature. I keep turning around because the Union Station facade is so pretty, but why don't I just look at it then? Yeah, cool little coffee shops, cool art. Bees, art. That's cool. I think one of the weird mismatches, mismatch is too strong a word. Both me and Brian have spent some years living in cities, me more than him, and part of me probably misses it more than he does. So whenever I'm back in a city, I just kind of feel more like myself, more alive, more able to just be a strange variation on a theme that I feel like small town living, it's just harder for me in a small town to feel okay doing weirdo crap like this. Okay, I was gonna say weirdo shit. Okay, apparently Denver makes me want to swear. Alright. Crossing the street. Crossing the street. Yeah, so I guess I should go find out where to buy my ticket and get on a platform to head to the airport. But this was the part I was the most excited about, if I'm honest, because I don't know, I always feel better when I kind of feel the land in a place, especially a place that has a lot of history. And Denver doesn't have as much history as East Coast towns, but it still has a lot of history. And yeah, just a couple block radius that I'm experiencing, but I like it. It feels simple, kind of like I feel a lot of this vibe in, I don't know, maybe Minneapolis or Iowa City, or I don't know. All cities are different, but also the same in their cityness. I don't know. I didn't mean to talk about this topic, but if you fall in love, it might completely change your plans. Just thought I should put that in this video, because, you know, I didn't mean to fall in love in Grand Haven, Michigan. And then I did, and then I didn't mean to stay even once I fell in love. I meant to kind of coax him. I can't think of the right word. Coerce sounded too strong. You know, get him to come with me. I kind of thought he would want to move somewhere else since he had already lived in Colorado. And he's a Michigan guy, for sure. He's totally a Michigan boy. And, you know, the longer I'm in Michigan, maybe the more Michigan-y I am as well. But it's a kind of weird place to be a transplant, too, because people really love to acknowledge their Michigan roots there. And so to be a transplant there, you just never get to feel the way they feel there. So then it's just kind of sad in a weird way. And I think that might be true of a lot of small places. I imagine, like, you know, small villages in Italy or in Ireland, and a sort of clannishness and a feeling like if you didn't grow up there, like you're sort of a perma-tourist. And I can feel that in Michigan sometimes, but maybe that's why I like cities, because I never feel that in cities. And I don't really have a pull to go back to my hometown of Racine, Wisconsin. I don't know, maybe Milwaukee someday, but probably not. But I do have a cool cousin there who runs restaurants, and he's amazing. Hi, Kurt. But you know, then Brian would be the transplant, and I think I can handle that feeling more than he can. So maybe we'd have to go somewhere where neither of us is from. Or don't go anywhere at all. I don't know. My piano families are really great. They kind of are fine with me taking a whole week off to come see family. I mean, I don't like have them pay me for it. It's not like a paid week off, but yeah, it's just taken me a lot of years to build up a studio where I feel like everybody understands that my family's spread out in Colorado and Minnesota, Minneapolis area, and that family's important to me, and that touring's important to me, and just trying really hard to make all of it work. My lips are really dry. Alright, well, thank you, Denver, for the little welcome. It's very strange to just stand outside of somewhere and talk to yourself while staring at a phone, but I don't know. I just feel like these few years of excessive shared creativity of YouTubing and band camping and Instagramming and Facebooking more, all of that has really changed me, and I don't know. Like, this is not any different than I used to be. It's just that I used to sit on a bench with a journal and do this quietly in a journal. And so, no, you know, I guess that's what it is to be a writer. Nobody knew what I was talking about. That's the big difference between this and that. You know, nobody saw me being animated about it, but it was animated inside my journal. And I don't know. So if you relate to that, if you have like a very chatty, evolving kind of placemaking, adventuring writery, songwritery, whatever creative spirit. I don't know. It's kind of fun being a YouTuber, even if it's a YouTuber that no one watches and you don't make money for. It's just kind of fun just to feel alive and be alive and share with people. Some people watch these, but most people don't. Alright, someday I might do something a little bit more structured. Although some of the young people who watch these have told me, like, please don't. There's enough of that in the world. There's kids jumping. I think they're on a field trip. Anyway, I should probably go. Thanks for watching and being part of my journey. Bye!